Shalloners, welcome back. Today I want to talk about something you guys have asked me about a lot, and if you're new to this channel, welcome. Usually we talk about dating and boys and love lessons from pop culture like Justin and Haley, Pete and Ariana, Pete and Kate Beckinsale, Pete and whoever's life he's going to ruin next. But today I want to talk about something a little bit different. College, which is why I'm wearing my University Trojans High sweatshirt. I'm home in my hometown, which makes you think a lot about the time in your life when you were in high school and college. And you guys messaged me about that a lot. It's like, how do I pick? And also, I think we're all glued to our computers and our phones watching the fallout from Operation Varsity Blues. God, I love that name. It's just big old high five to whatever FBI agent came up with that. Namely, like the college bribing scandal. I don't know much about YouTuber Olivia Jade because I'm usually too jealous to investigate the lives of other YouTubers. I'm like, they have so many followers. But I did a little digging on her, and kind of poked around. And as you know, her mom is Lori Laughlin from Full House and every single Hallmark movie channel movie and show, which I deeply love. And her family, along with a lot of other celebrity families, straight up bribed school officials and pretended that their kids were athletes when they weren't to get them into prestigious universities. Prestigious. Yale is prestigious, for sure. Penn is prestigious, yes. USC, look, I'm from Orange County, California. Everybody I know went to USC. I didn't. I went to Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo. San Luis Obispo, not Pomona. This is an important distinction. And so I have my own feelings about USC, but we'll get there in a minute. So today, I'm going to let you guys, I'm going to talk to you guys about how to choose a college, the two main things you need to focus on. But first, I just want to let you guys know, if you're new here, that if you want to chat with me one-on-one, you have a private question to ask me, the best way to do that is on the Instant Go app. You download it, and my username is ShallonXO, and click chat, and I get back to you in an hour or two because I have nothing better to do. So I love talking with you guys. It's my favorite thing. And be sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at ShallonXO as well. All right, so yeah, Olivia Jade. I am so here for this train wreck and the fallout. I'm just everyone on earth who has earned what they have is just popcorn. They're just watching it. And you know what? She's obviously working hard and has worked hard to get her YouTube channel where it is, and her Sephora collection, which just dropped her, and USC, which I think just expelled her. Maybe she dropped out, but either way, she's not a college student anymore. She's obviously worked hard. And I, as an up and coming YouTube person, I know how hard this gig is. It's because it's the Wild West too. There's no one to tell you how to do it. You figure it out as you go. But there are a lot of people to tell you how to get into college. It's a pretty clear path. And I don't appreciate cheaters. I don't appreciate people who cut in line, who cut corners, and stand on the shoulders of giants and then claim that those are their achievements. I don't appreciate that because I didn't do that. I wrote all my books. I got into one of the best schools in California on my own. So the hatred for her is I get it. I get it. She's a young girl, and I don't think people should completely crucify her over this. But just like I said, from the little digging that I did on her, she seems awful. Just that girl. Do you know what I mean? The girl posting the bikini pics and the Coachella and the fest. Just so I don't get the sense that anything she's doing is so new or interesting. She just doesn't seem interesting to me. She's pretty and she's pretty, but I'm not wow, this is a fascinating person. What makes her tick? What lies behind those brown eyes? Sometimes beneath the surface, there's just more surface. So I'm annoyed that she went to USC because I'm from SoCal. Everyone went to USC and it's a good school, but it's good for networking. That's why you go there, because the USC alumni is it's like being a Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine. Once a Trojan, always a Trojan. But so it was crazy to me that she was so focused on getting in because girl, you already had connections. Your parents were celebrities. You were already famous on your own. What was USC going to give you that ASU wasn't? And don't shit on ASU, by the way. Some of the most successful people I know went to ASU. It's not a stupid person's school. And that's one of my points. No school is a stupid person's school. The thing with college is it almost doesn't matter where you go. It just matters that you do go. If you decide college is even for you. If you have a different skill, you want to be a mechanic or you want to be a pastry chef or something, really sit and analyze what it is you want to do with your life. And then see, does college fit into that for me? I think for most of us, it does. Because for most of us, when we're applying to school, we might not know what we want to do. And that's what's so fucked up about like the education system in America. Because in other countries, you have like a gap year or two, or like some people, like in Germany, my boyfriend's from Germany, and like he said, like people go to college at like 25. Like they get out, they work, they do like public service, all this stuff. And then they're like, okay, this is the path I want to head to. They go to college, they bang it out in like 3 years, and then they go into their profession. And I'm like, that's so much smarter. It's not how we do it here, unfortunately. So it's really difficult, and it's asking a lot of a teenager who barely has time to even breathe. Like being a teenager is way harder than being an adult. Way harder. Are you kidding me? An adult, like you have boundaries. You can be like, no, I'm not doing that. And when you go home at the end of the day, you're done. You don't take work home with you and then do projects on the weekend and you're up late doing homework. No. And you're getting paid. So it's very like, I hate it when people like talk trash on teenagers, because it's like, do you not remember how hard it was? And you have like the hormones and like the socialization aspect. It's like everything is just like happening at once. So to then ask somebody on top of that, be like, oh, by the way, where do you want to be in the year 2034? It's like, dude, I don't know. Are we even going to have an Earth anymore? I don't know. They're going to be flying cars. I remember I was stressing about this when I was like a teenager, about what I wanted to be when I grew up. And my mom said, and I remember it so wisely. She's like, Shallon, like what you're going to end up doing might not even have been invented yet. And she was right. YouTube stars like weren't a thing, you know? So give yourself a break. But as much as possible, sit down and try to figure out, okay, where do I want my life to go? Like, and it can be very vague. It's like, do I want to leave my hometown? Do I want to move to a big city? Do I want to have a car? Do I not care about having a car? Do I want to be able to travel a lot? Do I want to work in an office? Do I want to do something that gives back to the world? When you can kind of like shape it down, you'll realize that a lot of things, like that cuts out a lot of things. It's like, okay, I want to be able to travel a lot. That probably is going to cut out like a lawyer. Like that's a pretty corporate job. You got to be in the office every day. But if you're like, I want a really flexible schedule. Okay, maybe you could be a travel health nurse and go all over the world. I want to give back to people. Maybe you should work for a charity. I want to make a shit ton of money. You should be a stripper or a drug dealer. Dude, I'd be a stripper if I had the body. 100%. Looks so fun. You just dance and you part gross men from their money. What's better than that? Nothing. Those girls earn their dollars. Pole dancing is hard. But there are really two things that you need to consider when picking a college. And I'll break it down like this. One of them is something I realized when I just graduated. And the other thing is something I realized more recently. And I'm like a full-on grown-up right now, which like on paper, not really. If you would ask me what you need, how you should be picking a college when I graduated from Cal Poly, I would have said networking. In that sense, I definitely understand why people go to USC. I get why they go to like Yale, like Ohio State, Miami, schools like that, because the alumni community is huge. Like you see like, oh, Princeton on a resume, it's like high five, fellow eating club, dude. But Cal Poly, where I went, is an excellent school, but it's in the middle of the countryside. Like we are in the middle of nowhere. It is cows and tractors and rodeos and like, you know, that. Even if I had been able to get an internship, it's like, where? What business in a town of 40,000 people, 20 of which was the college, was I going to intern as someone who wanted to be a magazine editor, which I am, I'm the editor-in-chief of a magazine. So it was hard for me to like, I feel in a way like I not wasted 4 years, but I graduated feeling very behind. Like other people I knew who went to UCLA or something like that, or University of Texas, like they had internships every summer. They had one internship a year. And for me, I was just like, like I felt kind of trapped. And so, but you know what? This is also something I've learned. Every bad thing has a silver lining. And I know that's like very like grandma, whatever thing to say. It's like some cheesy song they sing you in church, but like life is just about what happens to you and how you choose to view it. And at the time, I mean, for years, I was like bitter that I went to Cal Poly because I felt so behind. I felt so behind everyone because Cal Poly, it was a great school, but it really didn't help me decide and like specify what it is I wanted to do. Like the journalism major was like, whatever. I wrote for the school paper. I was a comm major, but I wasn't like, here's how you get a job at a magazine. Here's how you survive in the big city. It was very much like theory, rhetoric. I didn't feel prepared. I didn't feel like I was hitting the ground running. But what that did give me is this fire in my belly that has never gone out. Like I moved to New York City basically pretty much right after I graduated. I was a waitress for a little bit here. And was like, I was a woman on a mission. I got internships. I was like a 24-year-old unpaid intern. And you know what? I was the first bitch in, last bitch out. What can I help you do? You want me to organize this? Do you need coffee? Can I make copies for you? What do you want? And every editor loved me because I was the one working hardest, because I had this idea that I had to make up time. So if you didn't get into your dream school, and I'll get to that at the end, but like if you didn't get into your dream school, like you need to look for the silver lining, but we'll talk more about that. In fact, if you guys want a whole separate video on that, I got you. Maybe I'll do that. We're going to have a whole separate video on what to do if you didn't get into your dream school. Okay. So yeah. So had you asked, 22-year-old me, networking. So look around you and be like, okay, what schools in my area, and I'll tell you why that's important, in my area have the biggest alumni association? Like, do they have more internships? Like that's something you need to investigate, because when you're like a teenager and you're trying to make these decisions and evaluate, it's like you just kind of go where the tide takes you. Like everyone went to USC. That's just kind of like where people went from my high school in like Newport Beach, California. They went to USC, which is where this, bribery scandal came from. Great job, guys. And very few people stop and are like, wait, does this school actually align with what I want to do? And you don't even know what criteria to look for. Call them up or go on their website and be like, okay, what companies do they have partnerships with in terms of internships? Because when you're young, it's like, well, I want to like have fun and I want the social aspect, because that's just kind of like how your mind is oriented. It's hard for you to think about your career because you haven't had a career. So it's like, what? Like how can you make decisions based on something you've never experienced? You don't know what's good, what's bad, what's good. And here's another thing that I've learned. The most important takeaway, actually, we're going to talk about it now, is the misconception that college is supposed to be the best years of your life. I mean, it is if you do the rest of your life wrong. Like, think about people, and maybe you guys don't have enough perspective, but like, there's something called a peak 17. My ex-boyfriend came up with this. Maybe he didn't, but he said he did, so I'll believe him. And a peak 22. You know what a peak 17 is. You can probably look around. It's the guy in your high school who is probably never going to get over high school. He's varsity lacrosse, big man on campus, homecoming king. And these truly are going to be the best years of his life. He's going to talk about it forever. He's probably not going to leave your hometown. He's going to marry one of the cheerleaders. Blah, blah, blah. Like, this is as good as it's going to get. Right? Same with a peak 22. Like, now I can't tell if I had that much objectivity back then, but it's like there were so many peak 22s in my college where it's like, yeah, these are going to be the best years of their life. They maybe didn't have a ton of goals after school. It's like, we'll get married, or like, we'll move back to my family's ranch and work there. We'll work on the family vineyard, whatever. But there wasn't like, we're moving to a big city. We're going to write a book. We're going to do this. We're going to be an architect. We're going to get a law degree, be a doctor. The bar was really low. So, and you know what? That's fine. Some people, they're simpler. They want less out of life. And that's fine. Thank God I don't need any more competition in New York City. Crying out loud, sorry enough. But like, evaluate, like, okay, if that is what you want, if you just kind of think you're probably going to get married after school and you're fine being like a teacher and living near your family and whatever, yes, go to school. It's a lot of fun. Don't necessarily focus on the networking things. Go to school where you can major in something that's really cool and interesting, like philosophy or art, something that you just plain old enjoy. But I have a feeling that if you're on my channel and if you're a subscriber, and if you click subscribe in the last 14 minutes, you probably are thinking a little bit bigger than that, right? Right. So if you had asked me now, which you are, me now, what do you think you should be looking for in a college? One that you can afford. Again, this is a big thing to ask of a teenager, because just like you don't have any experience with a career, you probably don't have much experience with finances, with debt, with loans, with the permanence of financial slavery. That is what student loans are. Did you know that if you declare bankruptcy, the only thing you can erase is a student loan? Yeah, that stays. That stays. I know a lot of people who went to so one of my good friends, she went to Syracuse. She and I work for the same company, which means we made about the same amount of money, She went to Syracuse, which is out of state for her. She's from Jersey. She has tens of thousands of dollars in student loans. Tens of thousands. And you know what everyone thinks when they get a big student loan or go to a school that they really can't afford? I'm going to be making so much money when I graduate. It's not even going to matter. Look, even if you're a lawyer, even if you graduate, like I know a lot of my friends are lawyers. None of them have paid off their loans. None of them. None of them have gotten hired at a firm that's like, oh, we'll take care of that $200,000 in debt. Nobody. They're just working 70 hours a week and also paying, $1,000 a month in just interest towards that loan. They're not even paying down the main amount. They're just keeping their head above water. And that sucks, right? Because like I said, with my friend who went to Syracuse, it's like, okay, well, we both ended up at the same company and I went to a state school that I have no student debt from. And she went to a school that cost her like, what, $75,000? It might even be more than that. I don't know. It just like makes me sick to my stomach to think about. So it's like, you don't always get what you pay for. And I remember when I was trying to decide between like, hey, USC or Cal Poly, my mom said it to me like this, and she was so smart. She's like, you can go to USC, but you can't join a sorority. You can't study abroad. You don't get a new car. You have to live in like the sketchy houses in the sketchy neighborhood. There's no spring break trips. There's no, any of that. And you're going to have to work the entire time and over the summer. Or you can go to Cal Poly, sorority, study abroad, car, cool house, whatever. But you need to be making an adult decision here. Thank God I chose the latter. She probably like didn't even give me a choice. She's like, like the mom look, like, so, but she was right. She was right. Because like, it's so tempting to be like, I'm going to go for that big experience. That's great if someone else is paying for it. It is. But if you're paying for it, girl, it's not worth it. It's just not. College isn't the best years of your life. They're fun. And college is for expansion and growth and learning about yourself, learning about the world. But you can do that at a state school. You can do that someplace local. People don't really care where you went. Honestly, they don't. I'm the editor-in-chief of a magazine. And no one has even asked if I went to college, let alone where. And when I like force the information on people, I was like, I went to Cal Poly. Do you know what they say? Oh, what is that? What's that? Do you know people think it's like ITT Tech? Nothing wrong with ITT Tech, but it isn't Cal Poly, okay? But like, that's my point. It's like, people aren't always going to know or be impressed or like care where you went. And certainly, no one has ever asked to see my GPA or my transcript. Are you kidding me? No. I work in New York City in a very competitive industry. I'm not like out on some island someplace like renting Vespas to tourists. Like I have a big girl job, big job. So it's like knowing that, it's like, okay, this doesn't really matter that much. It just matters that you went because it shows that you have fortitude. It shows that you care about your education and you really do learn a lot, but it's up to you how much you learn. That's a whole other video. So here's the thing, hopefully that's going to sway you into a cheaper college. The best years of your life are not college. The best years of your life, I would say, are like 25 to 35. Hopefully they keep getting better. I haven't gone past that, so we shall see. TBD, I'll report back. But like, I can't think of anything sadder, and nay, I cannot observe anything sadder because I see it all the time. It's like, girls, you're living in the city and your friends are like moving out into their own places or like upgrading their apartment or, you know what, they're going to Greece for a week, like over their break. And you're staying home. You already had your fun. You had your fun in college and now you're still paying that off. You don't get to do anything new and cool. You had your fun already and you're going to be paying for that forever. Like, I don't know, dude. There's no frat party that's worth that. Honestly, I get to travel a lot. Check out my Instagram. Like, I live a pretty cool life. I'm not trying to sound braggy, but like, that's why you should listen to me. Because like, I kind of know what I'm talking about. And like, I did it in this one category of my life. I did it right. Like, wouldn't it be sad if all these cool things came up? Like, you wanted to buy a new dress for that fun brunch you're going to. Oh, no new dress. Oh, and also no brunch. You got to stay home because you can't eat out like that. And there's student loan debt. And people don't realize there's going to be other debt. There's going to be stupid people debt. Like, God forbid you get a credit card and you want like a new bedroom set or something happens to your car and you have to get it fixed. Like, there's things you're going to want in the rest of your life. It's kind of like the Justin Bieber tattoo principle. I love Justin. I love him deeply. But I look at his body and how covered he is with tattoos, and all I can think is, life is really long, and you're probably going to like something else for at some point in the next 65 years, right? You're probably going to have a child that you maybe want to put on your arm. Nope. Hey, there's no real estate. You had all that fun. It's all covered up. You're done. You're done. Because you didn't pace yourself and you didn't have the foresight to be like, maybe something else good is going to come along and I want to have the elasticity for that. Poverty is inelastic. And poverty is, there's enough chances to be poor in life. There's enough hardship. There's enough strain and struggle. Why do you want to go into your adulthood already with that yoke on your back, already laboring under that burden? You might want to buy a house, buy a car, start a family, move someplace. But no, this debt is going to be this thing you have to drag around with you forever. It's just not worth it. I hope this has been helpful. If you guys have more questions about this, let me know. And like I said, I'm going to do a video about what to do if you don't get into your dream school, So, like I said, find me on the Instant Go app if you want to chit chat privately, and follow me on social at ShallonXO. What's my name? Who am I? Shallon, go to bed. On Twitter, Insta, and Snapchat. Love you guys.